Imagine Brad Holmes saying this.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And here we are, everybody. Matt Derry with you. It is another episode of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day on a Thursday, June 29th and a Friday, June 30th. We're getting close to July. I'm going to be off next week on vacation. We'll sprinkle in some shows that I'm going to pre-record later on this week for next week, but bear with me if you don't see the new usual number of shows next week as I'm off. But thanks for listening. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day and following us wherever you get your podcasts, on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions on Twitter, the Matt Derry Facebook fan page, and of course, watching us for free. And please subscribe to our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. I want to say hello to our everydayers out there who contribute to the podcast through Twitter or just listen every day. Hit us up on the Facebook page or YouTube. We appreciate you as well. If you missed yesterday's show, Peter Bukowski from Locked On Packers, we kind of did a little off-season crossover, so check that out, please, if you missed yesterday. Coming up on the show today, we got to talk about Brad Holmes, an ode to the Lions general manager. There's another GM in town that said something that if Brad Holmes said it, he'd be run out of town. I'll explain coming up momentarily here on Locked On Lions. Also, a suspension in the NFL, but it's not Jameson Williams and it's not for gambling. And when I tell you the number and I tell you what the guy did, you're not going to believe that. We'll get into that coming up. And our executive producer, the great Nathan Litke, tweeted to me, another Hall of Fields, Justin Fields, Mr. Gold Jacket, hype train has left the station. We will explain coming up as well right here on Locked On Lions. We are 1 month away from today. 1 month from today, training camp starts and opens down at 222 Rodwood Drive in Allen Park. Get your tickets by going to DetroitLions.com, seeing what dates are available. I believe it's July 10th. You can log in and get your tickets, but the training camp, there will be 10 practices that will be open to the public, 6 that are just open to anybody, and I think 4 that are season ticket holder based. All right, so we've been talking about this football team. We've been talking about how excited everybody is, certainly for the Detroit Lions and for this upcoming season and really everything else. I'm going to do a quick favor here. I'm going to, right in the middle of the show, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to clear up our camera here. That's a little better. Everybody's excited. Everybody's nervously has some nervous anxiety and is anxious for September 7th and the opener against the Chiefs. And people are excited for the season. People like the roster. The Lions are the prohibitive favorites to win the division from Vegas. There's a lot that has to go into this. There's a lot that has to go into it when it comes to health and everything else. But folks, including myself, are excited for this upcoming Detroit Lions season. Lions won 9 games last year. They got some good momentum. A lot of veterans coming back. Good draft. Good free agency. Quarterbacks back. OC's back. DC's back. All of those things. All right. So people are genuinely interested and optimistic about the Lions. Let me ask you a question. If Brad Holmes was going into year 5 of his tenure as general manager, so that would be, this is year 3. So it would be 2025. All right, if Brad Holmes was going into year 2025 and he was going into the season and they asked him in the offseason before the season around free agency and around the draft about his philosophy and what he's doing to better the organization. Again, if he was doing this going into his 5th season as GM, and Brad Holmes were to recite the following sentences, quote, we're still in a rebuilding phase. We're still in a collecting assets through the draft phase. We're still there. We're not at a point where we feel like, hey, we can really start to go for it, so to speak. We're progressing, and I hope to be there sooner than later. End quote. What if the African-American, and I said it, general manager of your football team made a comment like that going into his 5th season, this town would be up for grabs. People would be ripping him left and right. Even some of the most of the mid columnists in this town, they'd get out the pitchforks. Rebuild, year 5, collecting assets. What's going on here? Those words were uttered last night by the one and only Steve Yzerman. Legendary captain of the Red Wings, pretty accomplished general manager of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and now your GM of the Red Wings. The Red Wings haven't made the playoffs in 7 years. They haven't made the playoffs the first 4 years of Yzerman's tenure. It is easier to make the playoffs in the National Hockey League than it is in the National Football League. Hashtag facts, FAX. Steve Yzerman's saying it's year 5 of the rebuild, and they're still in it. Not making any trades. Nothing big so far. Maybe they'll do a big hockey free agency splash tomorrow. I don't know. I'm a Lions host. But could you imagine what Brad Holmes would go through if he uttered the same words that the Golden Boy, Steve Yzerman, uttered? Or muttered. It's horrible. I'm giving an ode to Brad Holmes. This is a general manager that his team won more than they lost last year. He's a winning GM right now. First year, he took over a complete and utter disaster, a rudderless ship. All right? He was on the Titanic down in Allen Park with 222 breathing over his shoulder. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Brad? They won 3 football games his first year. His second year, his team beat Green Bay in week 18 in prime time, played hard in a game that really had no meaning for them, and finished with a 9-8 record. And now they are favorites to win the division. And this offseason, did Brad Holmes make a lot of big splashes? No. But he added key pieces on offense and defense. He's continued, along with Dan Campbell, to add to the coaching staff. If the Lions bleep the bed this year, I'll be all over Brad Holmes. Sure. But they're trending in the right direction. They feel good about where they're going. And Brad Holmes wants to win. And Brad Holmes has said, we're getting better. We're getting closer. We want to win. We feel we can win now. He said he was saying that last year in year 2 with a mediocre roster. Now all of a sudden, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Cam Sutton, Mosley, the draft, bringing Marvin Jones back, bringing Graham Glasgow back, veterans that want to be bit players on a team, setting the culture. Jamal Williams wants too much money? No, we'll do better. We'll go get David Montgomery. Oh, we like our tight ends, but why don't you love them with Sam Laporta? I think Brad Holmes has done a great job. Very good job. I'm not going to say great yet. They made the playoffs yet. Very good job. Could you imagine him going into the 5th year saying they're still in a rebuild? They're still collecting assets and building through the draft? That would be completely unacceptable, even for Brad. But the guy down at Little Caesars Arena, down there at the District Detroit, he gets a free pass. Now, again, Steve Yzerman has a better track record than Brad Holmes because Steve Yzerman was with a winning franchise when he was the GM of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Steve Yzerman's a darn good general manager. No one's saying he isn't. But has he done a good job here so far? I don't think so. Well, we're not going for it yet. Las Vegas Golden Knights just won the Stanley Cup a couple years ago. They were an expansion team. You had an 8 seed beat a 1 seed this year in the Eastern Conference NHL playoffs. Boston lost in the first round. To what, Florida? You get in the tournament, anything's happened. Anything's possible. It's not like that in the NFL. Could you imagine? I just, stunning to me. But again, that's also this market. That's also the love that many of the media members here have for the captain. I get it. Steve Yzerman is an icon in this town. Couldn't walk down Woodward without somebody coming up to him. Brad Holmes, no one knows who that is mostly. It's going to take him some time. He's no icon like Steve is. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, imagine your general manager making a comment like that for the Lions after year 4. You'd be run out of town. All right, coming up next, a suspension that just makes the Jameson Williams suspension, and I promised I would never talk about it again, but I'm breaking my promise, look ridiculous. We'll do that coming up. Locked On Lions with you for a Thursday, and we're brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Baseball season's in full swing. No better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. It's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to join today. The app is easy. It's awesome. We had Peter Bukowski on yesterday. He was throwing some money down on the Packers to win the division. You can do that at FanDuel. So don't miss your chance to snag that no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. FanDuel, the official partner of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. All right, we're back on Locked On Lions. I saw this today, and I made you guys a promise on this show weeks ago that I was done talking about Jameson Williams' gambling suspension. No more JMO talk. I'm going to try to keep it positive. Told you this week about Jeremy Reisman's chat with Jameson Williams' wide receiver trainer and all these things. And then I saw this today and I went, you got to be bleeping me. As Ken the Hawk Harrelson once said, the longtime TV voice of the Chicago White Sox. I saw this today. I couldn't believe it. Cam Robinson, the very talented left tackle of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has been suspended 4 games by the NFL for violating the league's performance-enhancing drug policy. Robinson, in a statement, said, quote, "As a veteran leader in the locker room, I always want to set a good example, and my actions in this instance are not a reflection of that goal. I apologize to the fans, my coaches, and most importantly, my teammates. It hurts. It hurts me that I cannot be out there with my brothers at the start of the regular season. I will attack training camp the same way I have for the last 6 seasons to make sure I am ready both mentally and physically." End quote. Cam Robinson gets 4 games for cheating. It's cheating the game. Performance-enhancing drugs is cheating. It's an unfair advantage. He got a 4-game suspension. I saw that, and then I went, uh-oh. Do I have to break my promise to my Locked On Lions listeners? You damn right I do. So let me get this straight. Somebody cheats and takes PEDs, and they get 4 games. Another unnamed player, rhymes with Ramo, gambles, bets on college football or another sport on his app and gets 6 games. Is Jameson Williams cheating the game? Is he trying to give an unfair advantage to he and his teammates on the field? No, he's not. Look, Jameson Williams is guilty. He's guilty of gambling when the league says you're not allowed to. Today, Isaiah Rodgers of the Colts suspended an entire season for gambling on football. Colts cut him. His career's probably, well, I don't know if his career's over, but his season's over. Quintez Cephas, we know about that. CJ Moore. These guys broke a rule. Jameson Williams did not bet on football. He did break a rule by betting on another sport, either in a location that the league deems illegal, meaning the facility, team hotel, whatever. But Cam Robinson's popping pills, doing something. PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. He gets 4 games. He can come back after week 4. Jameson Williams bets on another sport and gets 6 games. What the hell, man? Seriously. I'm not excusing what J-Mo did. I'm not saying that the league isn't, that he's not guilty. He was dumb to do it. Shouldn't have done it. All that stuff. Should have known better. But he gets 6. Cam Robinson of the Jags gets 4 is utterly preposterous. It should be the other way around. You gamble on another sport, you should get 4 games. You take PEDs and you cheat and you try to enhance your performance on the field, you should get 6 games. Heck, you should get 8 games. Baseball, you get 50 games. Now, I know it's 162 games as opposed to 17. I know. But still. I saw that today, and I wanted to come to Jameson Williams' defense because I thought that was ridiculous. All right, folks. The hype train started up again today. The choo-choo. You can hear it all the way from Lakeshore Drive in beautiful downtown Chicago. I will explain coming up next, but first I got to tell you about my favorite new sparkling margarita drink. It is so good. It is so refreshing. It's called Margs, M-A-R-G-S. You guys know I love a nice beverage for dinner, maybe after dinner sitting outside once this air quality gets better, but you know what I'm talking about. No more White Claws, no more High Noons. No. Margs is better. I stumbled upon these weeks ago. They're refreshing, ready to drink, sparkling margaritas, and they become my go-to cocktail. They're awesome. Crafted with Real Blanco tequila, Margs are clean, crisp, and genuinely taste so good. There's 5 unique flavors, so there's something for everybody to enjoy. Want more information about it? It's simple. Go to SIP, S-I-P, Margs, M-A-R-G-S.com to find a retailer near you. That's sipmargs.com. It's the drink of the summer. It will be the drink of the fall for tailgate season. Those of you that like to go to Ann Arbor Pioneer High School and park your camper at 6 a.m. and get ready for those tailgates, or maybe down at MSU, whatever it is, check out Margs. You got to do it. Must be 21 and over to enjoy. Cheers. Please drink responsibly. All right, folks, I saw something today sent to me by, as I like to call him, the executive producer, Thursday Vibes. Shout out to Nathan Litke. I'm just going to show it to you on the screen. If for those of you watching on Locked On Lions YouTube channel, there you go. Justin Fields MVP odds. Woo! Opened up at plus 300, now down to plus 1,800. What are we talking about? MVP? Seriously. Like, I get it. All right. I understand. That was from NBC Sports Bet. Justin Fields for MVP on Twitter at NBC Sports Bet. I just, some of the responses too are funny on Twitter. Justin Fields and the Legion of Zoom. Y'all just inviting the haters now. I actually think Fields will be a lot closer to their goal than people think. I love Fields, but come on, what are we doing? MVP for offseason hype for no reason is a lock. The hype around, I know I pick on this guy. I know I do. And I don't think he's that bad. And I know he's got better weapons now. And I get that the Bears offense looks a whole lot better on paper. Right? DJ Moore is a good player. Good player. Cole Kmet is a good tight end. Right? Claypool, please. The offensive line's better. But MVP odds, stop. Please stop. The Chicago Bears don't have any MVPs. Tell me the last time a Bears quarterback was even on the odds list. Now, some of you are going to go, well, that's not fair to Justin Fields. Yeah, no, I know. But this hype is unbelievable. It's stomach churning. I get it. The division's not good. We had Brad Spielberger on for PFF the other day. He said it. Maybe the Bears finish third, maybe even ahead of the Packers. But a guy that hasn't shown yet in this league that he can throw the forward pass in key spots, you're putting him on an MVP list just because he can run a little bit? Actually, he can run a lot bit. He's a really good runner. But the Chicago Bears had the first pick for a reason this past year. They sucked. They lost 14 games. MVP, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Aaron Donald. I mean, there's some really, I'd take freaking Kenneth Walker MVP odds over Justin Fields. Come on now. It's the Bears. The Bears suck. Odds have gone from plus 3,000. Where is it? Only one more time with this thing. Plus 3,000 down to plus 1,800. That's a cool looking JPEG there. I'm not buying it. All right, folks, that'll do it for Locked On Lions for this Thursday. Thanks for making us your first listen. Checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Please subscribe to our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Hope everybody has a great Thursday.